Break them? What do you mean? We're not on yet. Ready? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you all today. Good to be back with you today. This is the last Wednesday of June, so I think that this is the last time that we will be doing this. We'll be taking the month of July off, and hopefully we'll get to see each other again in August, or we'll come back maybe to doing this again. Okay, so this being the last day today, last time we're meeting this way, I thought I would go through some of the stretches primarily that I think you'll need over the course of the next month, 2 months, whatever time it is before we get back together again. And so we'll go through them. I'll try to explain some of the important points about each stretch so that you're sure to be doing it while we are going through the exercise. So we're going to take our time today, go through everything a little bit slowly. A little bit more slowly. I will maybe do only a few movements of the Tai Chi form, maybe the first 4 or 5 movements, and we'll even abbreviate those just to kind of remind you a little bit, so that even if you get those first 5 movements down and you just do those repeatedly, that'll be a good exercise for you as well. Okay, let's begin here by standing in a nice good posture with our legs at least hip width apart or shoulder width apart. The knees, of course, are always slightly bent. We have equal weight distribution on both sides of the body. Standing up nice and tall. And as we breathe in and out, lifting our arms, keep those shoulders nice and relaxed. We're just lifting the hands up and letting them float back down. I want to remind you again, we want to breathe in through the nose. Nice, deep breaths all the way into that lower abdomen part. Breath in, breath out. On the very next one, we're going to go into lifting the sky. So remember, in this one, we're moving into stretching. So we want to press those hands down. So I'm not locking my joints here, but I am pressing toward the floor so that my muscles get a nice little stretch. Look down, breathe in, push forward. You're also stretching here. At the top, you want to be sure to press those palms up even more so you get your whole stretch throughout the upper body. Do not lock the knees. And then breathe out, and there you relax everything. Okay? So we're feeling stretches from this point here as we breathe in all the way up to the top. Continue to stretch. Then you relax all the muscles in the upper torso, in the arms, even in the neck. Let's continue. Breath in. And out. So remember, this is called lifting the sky. Let's do one more together. Good. So the next one we'll do is separating yin and yang, or sometimes called touching heaven and earth. Palms are facing up, so the stretch is going to come in opposite directions. One is going to be stretching up, the other one down. We breathe in, bring the hands halfway up into the torso. Then one hand, this is my right, you can take your left on up. you're pressing that one up while the other hand presses down. So now I'm getting a stretch all through the arm here along the side of the torso, while the other one I'm getting a stretch in the arm, okay? There. If you want, you can also turn your head to the opposite direction. So if your left hand is up, you're turning your head to your right. Then breath in as the hands come back toward each other. Once they cross, you breathe out, press up and press down. Good. Now, you don't need to tilt your body at all, so keep that body nice and still, the torso. So no doing this and no overextending. Sometimes we want to overextend here, but we might hurt our shoulder doing that. So here we go. Breath in and out. So think more of pressing the palms up as opposed to lifting the shoulders. Don't forget your deep breathing. So once again, this is breathing in and then out once the hands cross. Let's do one more on each side. Good. Let that left arm just come down and relax. All right? So those first two exercises, lifting the sky, separating yin and yang, or touching heaven and touching earth, are meant to begin to stretch the upper body, open it up just a little bit. Okay? So now we're going to move into one called Greeting the Dawn before we get into our joint loosening exercises. And this is from the Dragon series that I've been introducing. Feet here are closer together. And the only thing that's happening is I'm turning my body left and I'm turning my body right. While I'm going one direction, the hands are going up. So I'm stretching all along the outside of the body here. And then I bring the arms down without bending over, without tilting my head or doing anything. The body stays upright. Okay? So I'll begin by turning to my left. So if you want to make that to your right. So we're going that same direction, basically. Here, don't forget to throw those hands back as you breathe in, and then you turn and breathe out. Throwing the hands back opens up the whole shoulders and along the collar blade area. So again, nice deep breath in. And breathe out, relaxing the arms down. We'll do one more on this side and then we'll change the direction. So to change, we have to first get our hands back here so that we breathe in and breathe out on the other side. Let's do two more to make it even on both sides. Hands back, breath in, and breath out. Good. So you can see now we've begun to turn the spine somewhat from side to side. So we're really working on our upper body with those first three exercises to kind of loosen it up. Now we'll get into more of the joint opening exercises. So we'll begin with this one here. Do not clench tightly. We're just rolling those fingers up. So my hands are no higher than my shoulders. I don't want to be lifting them up too high because now I'm lifting up my shoulders. So shoulders are nice and relaxed. And I begin by pulling back. So this is about as far as I can pull back. My shoulder blades aren't completely together back there because I can't take them back any further than this. So we do this one twice, right? And then we cross, and with this one we're able to open up a little bit wider so I can bring my arms actually back behind the body there, okay? So my shoulder blades are squeezing together a little bit more. So we do 2 of these. And then what we do is separating the arms, 1 on each side. So one goes back, the other one goes up. We do that twice on each side, and then we switch over to the other side. Good. So we're getting here rotation of the shoulders in a way that we don't get this way here, okay? So the only thing that's missing there would be a forward rotation, right? So if you wanted to add that in, if this is not confusing enough, and you want to do this in a couple of times, you could do that as well, okay? Well, we'll stick with those first 3 too, so that we don't get too confused, all right? All right, so let's begin doing those, okay? And slowly, so here we go. Don't forget to breathe in and out comfortably with this, whatever works for you. And separating 2 times on each side. And begin again. Let's go through that series one more time. Good. Now still working on our shoulders, we're going to do our shoulder rolls. So we always want to begin with that shoulder coming forward first, okay? And then we reverse that direction. So what I will do is I'll squeeze my shoulder blades together in the back, then bring my shoulders up toward my ears and let them roll forward. Now they'll relax again. So then I squeeze up toward the ears and then forward. Each one of these you should take a breath. So here I'm breathing in usually and then breathing out. So in Chinese exercises, they talked a lot about opening and closing the joints or opening and closing the body. So when I am doing this here, squeezing my shoulder blades together, see how all this is opening up. They're separating from each other, okay? And then when I come forward, in this position here, when my shoulders are forward, this is closing them back up again, okay? So I'm opening and closing, opening and closing. One more time this way. And then let's reverse the direction. So here, I come back, I'm opening, and then I'm closing again. Remember, with each shoulder roll or shoulder shrug, take a breath. You should take that breath when you're open, in, and when you close, you're breathing out. Good. One more. The reason we do it back last is then we just let those shoulders just relax right back into place. Oftentimes, if we do it forward first, we end up here. And so we walk around the rest of the day with our shoulders up. And so we need to learn how to relax those shoulders down. Creates a lot of tension all throughout the upper back and into the neck area if you're spending all day long with those shoulders lifted up, yeah? Okay? All right, so let's take one arm, bring it across the chest. The other hand tugs it in just a little bit to the body. Don't have to apply too much pressure. We're working on getting a nice, good stretch through the whole shoulder area. Again, remember, you want to hold these stretches for a minimum of 15 seconds. 30 seconds would be optimal, but it depends on the amount of time that you have. All right, good. Let's do the other side. So again, you're just tugging into the body a little bit. And relax. Okay, good. Okay. So we continue to work our way down. We're coming down into the wrists first. We'll do the wrists first, and then we get into the elbows as well as the hips, all right? So for our wrists, again, we can just simply turn our hands around. Make sure you turn them in both directions, going that way. You can even bring them together and just roll them around. Sometimes people go really, really fast with this, so it can be a little bit more painful for those who may have some joint pain. And remember, if you do have joint pain or bad arthritis, you can use this method here. It's a gentle way. So fingers are pointing toward each other, and without moving the arms, you're just basically opening those fingers, pointing them out like a gate as much as you can, and then back in, right? So you're working the wrist. You want to do that a number of times. And then also point the fingers forward, and then again pointing them up and pointing them down without moving the arms. None of this, because then you're working your arms as opposed to working your wrists, right? So just there, going back and forth gently. Good? All right. Fingers next. Oh, we always want these fingers to be able to work independently, especially if you are keeping in touch with family on Facebook and doing whatever else that you're doing, okay? So I know a lot of people that do a lot of knitting and all, they need their fingers, or sewing, they need their fingers to be really nice and independent and nimble. So hands up, and we're going to take the fingers down one at a time, and then open them up one at a time. So if you can do it on both hands at the same time, that's great. And again, you can do this one slowly, or you can do it quickly as long as you're working the fingers independently. Don't just, that's not what we're going for. Okay. I see some of you struggling with this. And sometimes we have to actually help those fingers a little bit, okay? That's all right. Okay. We all get stiff from whatever it is that we're doing, okay? All right. So the next one, as I showed you last week, is not just a matter of bringing the arms around, but really rotating those elbows. You see, so my hand is actually rotating around so that my elbow is actually turning, right? There, like that. And so both of them are doing that instead of just doing this, you see? So they're coming in, and once you have that movement down, then you can get those hips going around. Now, if you're ready, go ahead and reverse the direction of your hips without changing anything in the arms. And again, if you have to break this exercise down, because we're doing two different things here, but if you have to break it down and work just the elbows, the arms, and then go to the hips, right? Just to make sure that you're getting nice rotation in the hips. Keeping them nice and loose. Right? Be sure those knees are not locked when you're doing this. Knees should always stay soft, bent. Good. Okay. Then we can bring our feet together. This time you'll bend just slightly more at the knees, okay? Again, no pressure or weight in the hands on top of the knees. You can even do it standing up if you prefer. But if you like, just bending over just slightly. Sometimes people will guide the knees with the palms. About 10 times each direction. So if it's time for you to reverse, go ahead and do so. And again, I'll keep reminding you, breathe in properly while doing these exercises. Good. We're almost there for our first water break of the afternoon, okay? All right, so it's ankle time next, all right? This is the first thing I do while I'm still in bed, because for some reason my ankles will stiffen up overnight as if I've been walking around in my sleep, getting my 10,000 steps, okay? So first thing I do before I get out of bed is to turn my ankles around, just to begin to loosen them up, okay? So I'll pick my leg up in bed and just begin to turn them around, or you can sit at the side of the bed before you actually put weight or pressure on them. We are just turning it in both directions. And again, this is not the ankle, this is working at the knee again, okay? So we want to be sure that we are just working that ankle. Good, and when you're ready, switch over to the other side. I've been working my knees, especially my right knee, a lot more this week. It was Monday. My grandson Nicholas and I were back at the food bank and helping to sort things, and I stepped on a pallet to get to this bin of items that we needed to sort through. And I didn't realize that the board was broken. So I stepped through and I hyperextended my right knee, which did not feel good for the rest of the day that we were there. But I've been doing a lot of stretching exercises for my knee. Good. So it was a good time being there with my grandson Nicholas on Monday, but things weren't quite going my way. So right after I did that, hyperextended my knee, I had to reach into this bin, pulling out this big old box that I didn't know what was in there, okay? It was a sealed box, so I had to pull it out of the bin, and it probably weighed about 50 pounds or so at least. And I was pulling it out, so I pulled it up and rested it against myself so I could turn and get off that pallet and set it down. Now this was with my knee a little bit hurting at that time. And when I set it down, there was all these stain marks all on my shirt, on my shorts, and on my shoes. It was a box of detergent in those plastic bottles and stuff, but one of them was broken. And this was like about 20 minutes into our shift. So I was walking around the rest of the day, just a mess, you know. And we usually go to lunch afterwards, take my grandson to lunch, and he says, "Grandpa, you're a mess. Are we still going to go out to lunch?" I said, "Yes, we'll still go." I'm an old guy, so they'll just think, you know, that poor old man, he didn't notice he put on dirty clothes today. All right. So, feet together again. We're going to do some lateral stretching now, okay? So, get one of your arms up. You might want to get your left arm. This is my right arm. And you're going to reach as far over to the opposite direction as you possibly can. And then you let that arm just hang over your head. And then turn your head so that your eyes are looking down at the floor. Now we're doing two things here. One, getting a nice stretch along the side of the body. In this case, your left side. And your right side, you're compressing into the hip. Very good. Come up slowly, release that compression, and then release the stretch. Yeah? So that compression is very good, but that stretch feels wonderful too. It's just like opening up the side of the body. So let's do the other side. Same instructions. Reach over as far as you can first. Relax the arm. Turn to look at the floor. And then back up slowly, release the compression in the hip, and then release that stretch. All right, you've earned it. Get yourself a drink of water, whatever you have handy. Oh, good. All right. Hot days are upon us, and we'll be here for a while. So always, always, even if you don't think that you are thirsty, have a glass of water or some kind of drink close by. Sip from it all day long. Take drinks all day long, even if you don't think that you're thirsty. Okay. In weather like this, just doing things inside the house, you can get dehydrated very, very quickly. And if you take a morning walk or an evening walk, or you're going outside just to go to the grocery store, whatever it is, it can happen very, very quickly, more quickly than what we think, especially on these days like this, you know. I went for a walk late yesterday evening. Lindy and I went out for that walk, and it wasn't so much that it was so hot. There was no breeze, and the humidity was really, really bad. You know, it's just kind of hard to breathe. So you want to make sure you hydrate both before you do that, and we didn't go for that long of a walk. Immediately after you get back, also hydrate again. Okay, so be sure you're doing that. All right, let's come back up to the head and the neck area for just a moment. I want you just to drop your chin to your chest, and then gently roll your head to one side, like if your ear is trying to touch your shoulder. Don't lift your shoulders up toward the ears, just keep them relaxed. And then you'll gently roll over to the other side. And do another 3 on each side. Good, and when you are done with that, you'll bring your chin back to about level. If you want to just tuck it in just slightly, when you do that, you get a little bit of a stretch back here in the cervical area, and so that's nice. Otherwise, if you have it lifted too high, you're compressing in the cervical area behind the neck. Okay, so just kind of tucking that chin in just a little bit. Let's do swimming dragon, the one where we are keeping our hips very, very still. Our legs are not moving, our hips are not moving, so none of this. It's just this. I can't turn very far, just when I'm using my waist. We don't have to in this exercise. What I'm trying to do is reach back. When I do that, I'm massaging the muscles in my lower back area, the lumbar area. So begin with hands are in front, kind of nice and rounded here. And then turning to one side, reaching back with the arm, coming forward again. This is like you are swimming. So it's yin and yang with the arms. While one is coming forward, the other one is going back. One goes down, the other one goes up. And so you're just turning. Again, don't overreach behind you, because I'm sure then at that point you're going to move your hips. So just turn back as far as you can without moving the hips, and that's good form for this exercise. You can really press your feet into the floor to kind of keep you grounded. Remember, you can also do this one seated in a chair that doesn't have any arms on it. Move toward the front of the chair and just do the same arm movement here. In that case, your hips will not be moving at all because you're seated. So that's what I mean by letting that weight sink down. It's like I'm seated here. So it keeps me grounded, keeps my hips from moving. Again, everything else is very relaxed. The shoulders are very relaxed. So all I'm doing is turning in my arms, just kind of rotating around that shoulder joint. So no overextending here. You can see I'm lifting my shoulder up. It's just everything very relaxed. Finish by bringing the other arm in front, so you finish the same way that you started. Yeah. So there's no set time to or amount to do that particular exercise, but I find that if you do about 3 minutes of it, it really relaxes the lower back. It's just like getting a massage, somebody just massaging back and forth on your muscles, moving their hands back and forth. And so, you've been seated for a while, and not in the very best posture, lower back issues or pain, do this for 3 minutes and do it several times during the daytime. It'll really help alleviate some of the lower back problems that you might have. Okay? All right. So I said that we would be doing just a few movements of the Tai Chi form. I'm going to do those now. I'm going to step back a few steps, move forward. So normally when we do parting wild horse's mane, we do 3 of these. So we do a second one there on the other side and then a third one. But what I'm going to do today is just remind you to do 1, right? And then we will step into white crane. And then normally we do 3 of these, which is brush, knee, and push. We will just do 1. And then going into playing the pipa or strum the lute, and then we will do at least 2 of repulse monkey, right? We can come in and do ward off, grasp sparrow's tail, release behind you, come, push mountain, and there. So if you will work on those over the course of the next month, couple of months, those, if you remember to do them on both sides, right? Great, okay? More power to you. But if you at least get the 1 in, and then remember to take that half step, go into the next one, that'll be really, really good, okay? Because it's just a matter of doing the same movement on the opposite side, all right? Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to step back just a little bit. I'm facing this direction here because then I will turn and be facing the camera or facing you completely. So remember here, this is a very important step. Our feet are together, but just like when we do the opening exercises, we make sure we have equal weight distribution on both sides of the body. Same way in the feet, from the toes to the heel, the outside to the inside of the foot. So in other words, the weight is centered almost basically over the arch area. Knees slightly bent. Shoulders are relaxed. Come to the breath. Make sure we're breathing deeply and comfortably. And we begin. I shift all my weight into my right leg so I can lift my left and step out hip width apart. Then I resettle all the weight so I'm evenly balanced again. When I'm balanced, my arms drift up, no higher than the chest. Extend the fingers out, then draw them back and down, like I'm pressing down toward the hips. Then hold the ball with the right hand on top. Left hand is underneath. With the left foot, you're going to step out and forward and move right back into the very first parting wild horse's mane. So remember here, that palm is basically in front of my throat or chest area here, as if I could look at myself while the right hand presses down. I have about 60% of the weight on the front leg, 40% on the back leg. Remember, my foot was turning this direction here, so I have to adjust it so it's 45 degrees. This one's straight ahead. So we do one parting horse's mane. We're normally doing 3. The next movement, I take the half step up. I hold the ball, this time with the left on top. I set that back foot down and flat. I turn my body to the right. So I turn the body yin and yang with the arms. Remember, that means the hand that's on top goes up. The one that was on, or rather the hand that's on the bottom goes up. The one on top goes down, right? And from here, notice I don't do any other movements with the arms. I just simply turn my body forward and shift all the weight to the back, right? So oftentimes we think the arms have to move in doing this here, but they're already lined up in my body. I just turn forward and I've completed the movement. So it's pretty easy that way. So let's try that one again, okay? So from parting wild horse's mane, take the half step in with that back foot, hold the ball, shift your weight to the back and turn your body to the right. Do yin and yang with the arms. Lift the heel of the front foot because only the toes will be resting down. Turn forward, right? So you can see I'm really standing on this back leg. I'm just touching my toes down here. My arms lined up with my right leg, my left arm by the side of the left leg. Okay? Then brush knee and push. We'll do only one of these. I do yin and yang on the left side. I turn the body to my right side and I do yin and yang again. Up and down, that's all we're doing. Then bend that right elbow, step forward with the left, straight ahead with the toes. This one's already turned 45 degrees. Clean the tabletop. So remember, my body is just turning around, right? So I'm not really having to do my arm so much as just turning my body, and then the right arm pushes through. Yeah? So we were here, weight was on the back leg. As I turn my body, I shift more weight forward, 60% into the front leg. Right hand pushes through, left hand comes around. Again, martially speaking, this is like I'm trying to block a kick. Someone's trying to kick me, and I'm blocking it off to the side. And at the same time I'm doing that, I'm coming in to strike or push them over, right? Okay? So that's all that is right there. Again, the alignment, left hand by the left leg, right hand just off to the side of the right leg, okay? Then play the pipa or strum the lute. This is the one where we end up like we're playing a little guitar right here, okay? So again, it involves a half step. I shift my weight back and you can see I'm turning my body to the side, which is my right side a little bit. Left arm just drifts up. Then I turn forward again and my right hand comes in toward the left elbow. Once again, I'm standing on that back leg, okay? So only my toes are touching down in front. I can lift my foot, I can stand here if need be, okay? So it's very little weight on that front leg, if at all, okay? Then, repulse monkey, sometimes called whirling arms and stepping back. So first thing to do is to open up those arms, both palms face up. Then bend that elbow. Take a half step in. If you're unsure of your balance, okay, you take that half step in and then a half step back and turn the body forward, and all that happens here is the hands cross. Right? So as I turned, the right hand is coming forward, the left one goes back, they cross each other. To do the next one, I open up again. If I'm sure of my balance, I can just go ahead and take a full step back, right? We step back onto the toes. If I'm unsure, take the half step, then take another half step, bend this elbow, right there, okay? So that was repulse monkey. Normally we do 4 of those, we're just gonna do 2, okay? Just so you have it, right? So otherwise I'd be doing 2 more. So next we do holding the ball, get ready for grass sparrow's tail, but I step out, and now this is called ward off. It's part of the movement of grass sparrow's tail. Difference between this one and the first one that we did is the hand being here and the hand being over here. This is more chest level. This one is more almost eye level, not quite eye level. Okay? So this one just kind of goes straight ahead. The right hand is still positioned the same way, pushing down. Like again, like I'm trying to block a kick back here. Okay? So we ward off. Then I shift a little bit more weight to the front as I catch the bird. My hands are not touching here. I draw back. Now the weight's going to the back leg. Let the bird go behind you, right? Just release it. Bend the right elbow. Press it into the left palm. Turn the body forward. And then shift weight forward. Right? So we were here. We went back. It happens all at once as I press into that left elbow, shift weight forward. Separate those hands. Draw the weight back, lift those front toes. So I'm really pressing into this right leg here. And then push mountain. Right? So once again, about 60% of the weight in front. Okay? That's push mountain. And we'll leave it there. Okay? Because the next movement, as you know, would be turning around and doing the movements going the opposite direction, doing that grass sparrow's tail, again, the opposite direction, okay? But if you can practice those first 5, 6 movements there that we did and get really, really good at them, you will be actually practicing the principles of Tai Chi, the body alignments, the fact that the arms do not move independently of the body, they move with the body. It's like I'm a mannequin. Okay, and they're just moving me around, but my arms are not moving independent of my body. Okay, so as my body turns, so do my arms come along with them. Here, all that happens is yin and yang, right? But you see my body turning. My arms are moving depending on the direction my body goes. Okay, so those are the principles that we begin to integrate into ourselves to give us good alignment and better balance in Tai Chi. Okay, so try to practice those movements at least along with those principles involved. Okay, all right, let's get back to some of our stretching because we've still got a lot of stretching to do for our back and for lower body, all right, for our legs and all. Okay, so we're going to begin by stretching lower back by just very gently. If you have lower back issues, you don't want to just go right into a full forward bend. So I'm going to ask you, standing again in a good position where you're evenly balanced on both sides, hands just resting on your thighs, keeping the back as flat as possible. In other words, as straight as possible. I'm just going to come down to just maybe below my knees. Hold for a couple of seconds. So the top of your head should be pointing directly towards your TV, your laptop, your computer, whatever it is you're working on, and then come back up, right? We'll do it again. So I'm going to look up here, make sure your back's pretty straight. Okay, we're doing well. And we'll come back up. Now on this third time, we'll go into a full forward bend, meaning the back will round, the head will actually just relax down. So a lot of times I see people rounding the back, but they're holding their head up here to see what's going on. Okay, don't need to. I'll tell you when we're coming back up again. Okay, so we won't leave you there, all right? So you just take those hands down, begin to round the back. Take those hands down as far as you can. Let your head and neck relax. Again, if you can touch the floor, great. Top of your feet, wonderful. Ankles, good. Whatever you need this day. Whatever you can do this day. Relax the head and the neck. Let the back just open up and relax. It takes a little bit of time. Also, be sure those knees are bent. Don't lock the joints. Good. Then gently turn your body over to your left side. So you're stretching down the outside of the leg. Then gently move over to the other side. Remember, we're trying to hold each stretch for about 15 seconds at a very minimum. Good, then come back to the center. Again, if you're able to hold on to or touch the floor, you want to walk your feet out a little wider. Just find a position that's comfortable for you. And then you're going to take your hands off the floor and let the body just hang down like you're a rag doll. You can hold on to your elbows if you so desire. Let your body weight just begin to open up the back muscles even more. Very good. Hands back on the floor. You'll walk your feet back to their original position. And then, once again, just hang down for another moment. Relax your head and your neck. Then bend your knees a little bit more and come up into a chair position very slowly so you don't hurt the lower back. It's this position right here. You're really going to work your quadriceps. If you feel like you need to work your knee or your hips a little bit more, what you will do is go into a complete squat. Feet flat on the floor. If you have to widen them out a little bit more, that's okay. But the feet must be flat. If you wanted to work both your hips and your quadriceps, you would do a half squat, right? So here, really going to work your quads as well. But for some people, this is a little bit painful in the back. So that's why I go all the way down if at all possible. Good, enough working of your quads? All right. Hands back on the floor if you were in a squat, otherwise go back down into full forward bend. And from here, you're going to come up very slowly. Don't just jerk up like you're standing one vertebra on top of the other. Your head, your neck's the last part of you to come up. Oh, and lift the top of your head up toward the ceiling. Good. Hands back behind the lower back. And then just bend over those hands. Relax the shoulders. Don't push them up toward your ears. Pelvis does not come forward. Very good. All right. Okay. So we're doing that forward bend. You want to finish that off by doing a bit of a back bend as well. Okay. So we're taking that spine two different directions. Knees to work each way. We've taken it laterally, taken it forward, we've taken it back, right? And doing that. So we're really working that spine, making sure that upper body's nice and loose, okay? I promise you more work on the legs, so we got to stretch our legs, okay? So, but I wanted us to get up and just simply work primarily on the back for those few exercises. So step out wide again, okay? Just as wide as is comfortable for you. And then I want you to shift most of your weight over to one side, okay? You can rest, support here. You can even go down to your elbow, but please don't do this, okay? Don't take the chest down toward the floor. The chest should be up, okay? So just doing that, pressing into that leg. Again, if you're able to go down further, you can do this, okay? It's okay if you have to have a hand on the floor. That's quite all right for your balance. And if you're able to turn to reach toward the opposite foot, that's getting also a stretch into your back. Oh, this feels so good. Must be good. You're giggling out there. All right. I'm going to put my hands on the floor and then come over to the other side. So you'll do the same thing on the other side here. Remember that chest is up, or you're going to go down. A few extra little tips here. If you want to increase this stretch, like I said, reaching over the opposite side. Notice how I have my elbow resting on the inside of this knee? I pull it back. So now I'm really opening up the whole groin area, all around the hips, pelvic area. So I'm just trying to stretch as much as possible. If you can't get your foot completely flat on the floor, you can also put the heels down and do that. You might have to touch down to make sure you have your balance, right? Okay, good. Whichever way you're doing it, walk your feet closer together, come back up slowly, okay? Oh, that feels so good in the legs, okay? Again, if you're going for walks, you might want to do a little bit of the stretching before your walk and a little bit after your walk, okay? So you're coming back, you're going to hydrate, you're going to walk. Speaking of hydration, a little bit is always good. So people are always asking, should I stretch before or after? My suggestion is a little bit before, a little bit after, all right? After experiencing that Monday with my knee, my wife still wanted to go out for a walk in the evening time. I said, well, I don't need the steps, but I'll go with you, you know. We'll go walk through a park. I said, I'll go with you. But I didn't do any stretching beforehand. And we'd probably gone maybe a quarter of a mile, and all of a sudden the back of my leg of the knee was really tightening up on me, and I had to tell her, I said, I got to stop and I got to do some stretching there, before I finish the rest of and we do about 3/4 miles, I guess is what she does. And but to do that, so I made the mistake of going out there without stretching a little bit, and so it started tightening up on me. So you want to do a little bit before, a little bit after, that way. Okay? All right, so we're coming down to the last few minutes of our class today. So I did want to remind you of the one meditation. If you're still doing your standing post, that is wonderful. I think that's great. Do a little bit of that every day. But if you want to do a seated meditation as well, where you're working on some of your emotions and all, we hear of so many things going on in this world today and such, and we hear of places opening up and for the economy and stuff, and then having to close back down again and shut down because there's rising cases and such, and so much uncertainty, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That I find, for myself it's important every single day. But I think especially during these times, to sit down and have a few minutes of quiet with yourself, something that where you're rejuvenating a little bit, you're getting the juices flowing again a little bit and calming down a little bit and maybe getting away from any anxiety or pressure that you may be feeling. So I wanted to remind you about the heart coherence technique. It's a short meditation. You can do it eyes open, eyes closed. You remember you breathe in and out through your heart area. So you just want to focus on that. So you develop a nice little pattern for yourself. Breathe in and out through the heart. And then you choose something that you want to begin to inhabit more of, to embody more of, whether that's compassion or love or peace or joy or calmness, courage, whatever it is. I find I change up every single day. Yeah, it's what I'm feeling that particular day. I just try to listen in. Okay, and so if I choose courage, let's say, I'll be breathing in courage. Every time I'm breathing in through my heart, filling myself with courage. Okay, and thinking perhaps about what that means to me. Courage, in part, means that I'm willing to stand in my own shoes, and not change my beliefs, my habits, or anything just because it seems to be the thing to do, right? So it's staying within myself and believing, in the things that I trust and believe in, So I'll just begin to fill myself with that, or it might even just be the courage to go to the grocery store, But you just feel like, I'm not sure if it's safe out there, so you want to build the courage to go to the grocery store and do everything that you can do to keep yourself safe and those around you safe, but you got to go out there and do some of these things, okay? So I'm breathing in courage. And then you get to the point where you want to radiate that as well, okay? I find especially for things like love and compassion or peace, that I want to radiate that as well. So in other words, I want to be that, so that when people come in contact with me, they feel more courageous, or they feel more peaceful, or they feel more compassionate and loving, right? So breathing in and out through the heart. 3, 4, 5 minutes of this on a daily basis, I'm not asking you to replace your prayer time or anything else that you might want to do. But I think that this is a great way to sit down and basically I call it recharging myself, coming back to myself a little bit, and doing that. So don't forget to do that. Take the time for yourself. It's very, very important. It's a lesson I learned many, many years ago, and in coaching school and doing these other things. The fact that if you don't take care of yourself, you really cannot help others. You can't take care of others. So you have to take care of yourself first. So don't neglect that. Don't think it's a selfish thing to do. It's not. Okay? Doing that is what helps you to go out and assist more people. Okay? Doing that. Okay? And I know there's many people counting on you. Okay? They're counting on you. Okay? So Do it for yourself, all right? All right, so we're about to pull the plug, so to speak. But I want to say that, again, if I can help you in any way, contact the church here, contact Virginia. If you don't have my email address, okay, I've already told her, please give it out. So if you want to contact me, ask me about any of these exercises or anything in general and such, I'm more than happy to stay in communication with you and to answer you back. Now, I'm not one of those people that's constantly checking my emails, okay? So I might check my emails once, maybe twice a day, once in the morning and then again late in the evening time. So, but I will eventually read it and get back to you. So if it's something urgent, maybe you want to get my phone number and give me a call, okay? All right? So thank you so much for tuning in to all these many, many weeks. It's been my pleasure to be able to come and do this. Thank you to Marcos, who is never seen on the camera here, but he's the one that's recording me and doing the sound and all this stuff. So thank you very much to him. Thank you very much to the church for providing the space so that we can continue doing this. Be well, stay safe, and we'll hopefully see you soon. One last breath. Breath in. Breath out. And let's just bow toward each other. Again, thank you so much.